Hello, darling. It's Jennifer from the patio. So I had a request for more clarification on the file folder folio that we are making for my Wednesday Wanderlust. We are making a Staycation folio, and someone asked for clarification on how to make it. And so I need to do that real quick because obviously I was not very clear. So this is what we're making. It is a folio, and you're going to put together file folders in with a tab bind. Okay, this is called tab binding, where you get tabs and then you bind your pages together, right? So each of the pages in this folio is a file folder. So I'm going to show you. And the reason I didn't cut them for you the other day was because I have to get Miss Big Bertha out. But that's okay. If it helps you and clarifies, then that's what we're going to do. So here she is. And we are going to make our folios out of file folders, okay? So each file folder is going to give you 2 pages in your folio, okay? So what I did is I took my regular file folder, right? And I cut the end off of this because these are never square. They're just never square. So what I did is I just nipped off the end of this, okay? Just took off a little piece, okay? Just like this. Just took off a little piece, just a sliver, okay? And what it did is it gave just a nice little edge here. I am only using the side tabs. Now, you know that every side tab can go from right to left just by flipping it inside out, right? So only use the right-hand tabs. Don't use the middle. You can use the left. Just use the side tabs, not the middle. And then what I did is I turned it over, and it's going to be 11 inches. So we're going to put it on the 11, and I'm just going to cut off that other end, okay? And you just get a little bit. So now I have an 11-inch binder. I mean a folio or file folder. Let's put it that way. So let me show you. So when I open this up, you see that that's how big it is, okay? It looks like it's a little bit smaller, but okay, so now what I did is I am making mine 8 1/4 inches tall from the tab. So let me turn it this way so you can see. So I'm going to put the tab on the 8, excuse me, 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to cut the bottom off. Okay? And this is what I'm going to use to make my tabs to bind it. Okay, so now I have 2. I have 1 and 2. And let me cut real quick one more because I already cut one this morning. And let me I'm going to chop off the end over here. I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to actually chop this end off first. I don't want to confuse you. And then I'm going to make it 11 inches because that's how wide we're making it. And put that aside. And then I'm going to make it an 8 1/4 from the top of the tab. So I'll make it 8 1/4. And I'm going to cut the bottom off. Ooh, I am so sorry. I jostled you. Okay, so those are all done. I can put Bertha up, and then we can work with the smaller one. Once you have all of your file folders cut, you're just going to fold them in half. And I hope I'm not too loud because I am standing up, and I am literally right next to the phone. Okay, so there's one. And I'm not going to decorate or do the procedure that we did with the other one. You'll have to watch the other video for that. I'm just going to show you how to bind these together. Let me do this way because I think they went this way. Okay. So see how you're getting one that goes this way, one that goes this way, one that goes that way, and then this one goes like this. Okay, and I do every other one. So it'll be tab, and then this one's bent, so you're going to get the little bottom part, which I like. And then this tab is going to go like this. So we'll put that here, and then we'll put this one, and then I cut 2 more earlier. So these are going to go like that. Okay? And all you need is 6. I did 7 because I wanted to have a little bit of extra writing space, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so the tabs are going to be 3/4 by 2 inches. So they're going to be that size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my extra pieces, and I am going to make sure I'm in frame. I'm going to cut them at 2 inches. So I'm just going to go through here, use my extra pieces. You're just going to use what you have. And we're going to cut this down to 2 inches. So I've got a couple right here. Okay, there's an extra piece. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to just cut it down to 3/4 of an inch. I don't want my tabs to be real big, and I am not using this. Let me make sure you can see the lined part. I'm not using that. I'm only using the part that I cut off that is solid, that doesn't have the lines on it. Okay, so I'm going to go, and I'm just cutting these to 3/4 inch. I just don't want a whole lot of, I don't want a big tab on mine, so that whenever we bring our decorative papers and stuff in, it's not going to be. And I saved these because I use those. And then, so let me see how many I got. I think I only got 5. Yeah, I got 5, which means I need to do the next one. Because I believe we're going to need 3, 2. I think we're going to need 15 or 12 or 15 tabs. So we're going to cut this at 2, just like we did. So cut it at 2. I apologize if I did not. If I did it too fast, or I wasn't clear about, because I do know that there are some beginners here, and so I want to make sure that you, that you are able to. This isn't. This may be the first time you've ever done tab binding. And so I want to make sure that I make it clear. Okay. And this is kind of why I didn't do it on film or video, because it does, all of this cutting and stuff, But if it helps somebody, then I definitely want to do that, because sometimes it's just not easy to, you want to follow along. You want to stop the video. You want to look and get some clarification. So I totally understand. Like I say, keep these. And then I have one more. So I'm just going to open that up, and then we're going to do 2 again. And we might get more than what we need, but it's okay. I'd rather have more than not enough. So let's go ahead and just cut these at 2. And then I'll sit down when I get through cutting. So we can put this together. So this is a freebie that I'm putting out for a limited time for our Wanderlust Wednesday Staycation. It's a little folio that has all the, about 10 or 12 different places to venture to in your own area, in your own little town, maybe an adjacent town or something. Maybe that, like, one of them is a market, and we have one that is probably like 30 minutes away, a farmer's market. And then I have another one that's around the corner that takes about 7 minutes to get to. So, places like that, and the library, coffee, going to a coffee shop, things like that. Okay. So to save on time, I'm not going to round the edges. Okay. I'm just going to do it just like this. So you're going to need some glue, and I don't want the shadows to be in the way. So I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I alternated the ones that have the tabs, and then the sunken one, the tab, the sunken one, etc. So here's what we're going to do. The very first thing is we want to make sure that these are all burnished down. So take a minute to get that nice and tight for each one. I'm going to turn them over. Okay. And once you do this, you're going to love it because it's just so much fun to do. And I didn't have an example because I sold all mine when I had my craft show this summer. And I went to a craft fair and sold them all, and so I wasn't able to show you. So here's what it's going to look like. And so I'm going to show you this real quick. You're binding it with these small tabs. Okay, so you're going to need, they're going to be 5, but you're going to do every other one. So the first page, we're going to have 3. The second will have 2. The third will be 3 again. The fourth, 2. So see how we're going from 3 to 2, and that gives us this look of 5. Okay? Very simple. You take your pages. You take the first one. Let me make sure, because I think I'm down a little bit. Okay. So you take your first one, and you pull it aside, and you put these to the right. Okay, so this first one, we are going to do 3 tabs. So, and of course, you're going to decorate them and do all the things that I did. And if you didn't see that, you don't have to, but I mean, I just think it's pretty. I love that look, right? So, you distress or do whatever to your tabs before you put them on. I'm just showing you how to make this tab binding folio. So we're going to do 3 first. So what we do is we put them where we want them to. And I always fold mine in half. That way I get a seam that I know is going to go on the end of the folio. So everything's going to line up just right. So I fold them in half, and then I'm going to space them out evenly on my file folder, my first file folder. So this is, like I say, it's 8 1/4, and it really doesn't have anything to do with you know, making sure it's all even in between. You just need to get it to where it's even on your page. And once you start, you'll be able to do that. So I think that looks pretty good to me. So I'm gonna start gluing them down. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to only glue this one side using the seam, the bend, to know where to go and where to put it down. I'm going to hang it off just a little bit so that it will bend with the page. Okay? And you have to do it, you know, of course I'm not standing up so I can't see very well. I'm looking at it from an angle. So if I wasn't on camera, I could, you know, get up and look at it and see. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it a little bit to the left of the crease of the file folder so that I know when it bends, it's going to bend on my my bend. It's gonna fold on the fold that I created. Okay, and then that's all you're doing. So you're just making sure that it's even on the page, and I think that looks good. That's why I like to line it up on my paper, because if you see, all of them are hitting this line, this 1 inch. So we know we're doing good. Okay? And that's all. That's what you do. That's the first one. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over and then bring out the next one. And then we're going to kind of line this up. And then we're going to do 2 tabs. And it's going to be 2 tabs in between the 3. So we're going to fold in half so we can get us a crease. Right? So we know where to lay it down because we want it to be half of this. So that one's going to go there. And we get the next one. And then we're going to have a good crease. And then we're going to put it in between these. You're just trying to evenly space them. And then I pull this away. Okay? So, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that because in that way we can see where they go. Let's do this again. Okay. All right, let's do this again because I know I don't want to confuse you. Let me line it up. Okay, let's put our first one down. We've already creased them, so we know where the center is. And then we are going to put it down in between these 2. Approximately. I think my biggest thing is to make sure that it is straight. And then we're going to do the second one. Glue down this crease, and we're only using this as a guide. So then we're going to put that one down. I'm going to pull this away so I can look at it. See, that one's a little cricketed. That one looks good. Okay, so now what we have is, this is the back of the first one and the front of the second one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over and we're going to line these up. Okay, so I'm going to line it up from the bottom and make sure that it's nice and tight. Now you're looking at 5 tabs, right? Well, we are going to start with the first 3 tabs that we glue down. So we're going to glue these first. So you hold it tight. And then you pull this tab over. Don't do the second one. You're going to do the middle and the 2 outside ones because those are the 3 we started with. I'm going to pull that over. And then we'll do the last one. And pull it tight. Make sure they're all centered. And then we're going to put that one aside. Then you're going to bring your next one out. And you're going to line it up. Get your tab. Fold it to get the crease. And then we're going to glue one side down to match this. So I use this one as a guide, giving myself some space on the crease. Whoops. Just lining it up, make sure it's lined up, and then just press that down. Get the next one. I try, if I have some writing on the inside, I try to make sure that it's, if I have writing on these little tabs, I make sure it's on the inside so that you can't see it. So it'll be glued down. And like some of this you are going to see because it's just, it is what it is. But okay, and then you just take your next one. You line it up. And then you just press it down. Get your next one. Fold in half and crease. And this is a good, this is good to remember so that no matter what size you have, you know that you're going to get the center point by folding it in half. And then that way they're all going to line up. And then I'm going to do the same. And then I'm going to pull that one away and I'm going to look at them just to make sure that they see this one's a little, they look good. Okay. And so once those are stuck down, you're going to fold it over. You're going to line it up from the bottom. Make sure the sides are nice and tight. You're going to lay it down. And now we're going to fold the 2 center tabs in. Because we just did 3, so now we're going to pull the 2 over. We're going to pull the 2. Okay? And it's all nice and tight and laid down, and we can see how it's coming. It's going to look good. And then we get our next one. We line it up, and I like to line it up on the mat on a line. Get your next tab. I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole thing. And I know you may be bored, and if this isn't something that you want to watch, I'm okay with that. But for those of you that are new and have not done tab binding, I want to show you that it isn't difficult. You just have to have a little bit of thought process. And then you're just going to place it here because we're doing 2 now. And like I say, I try to get that crease a little bit to the left so that when when it folds, it lines up with the crease. And then we're just going to do the next one. Line it up. And that's what's nice about having tabs, because then you have, make sure that one's straight. You have a guide to go by. Okay, so you've got 2 and you have 3. So we just did 2, so we're going to turn this over, line it up from the bottom, then line it up on the sides, lay it down nice and tight, and then now we're going to pull the 3 tabs, okay? Because we just did the 2, so now we're going to pull the 3 over. So it's just every other one. You can pull these over as tight or as, loose if you, as you want. I kind of need a little bit of room in the folio one, so I'm not like just really pulling it too tight. I'm just kind of pulling it over because I'm putting brads and, all kinds of things in. So I don't want it to be bulking up. And then you pull that one over. And then you can look to make sure. See how they're coming along? These were a little bit lower, these. So I'm going to have to make sure that once you get off, but it's still fine. I mean, it still is okay, but you can do it as precise as you need to. But I'm going to try to do mine a little bit different. I'm going to look at the one underneath it to see. And you have to understand, I mean, when you're at home, you can really look and see. When I'm filming, I'm not going to get my head underneath the camera. So... Okay, so let's get this as close as I can and lining it up. And then I'm going to put it there. Sometimes I think having it too close kind of. Okay. Get that lined up, then do the next one. Crease it. Creasing and gluing and tabbing. Okay. See how I kind of held that? And then that way I can get this one. And then one more. I think we might be a little shy of how many we need. Whoops. Well, maybe not. Okay. And then this is my last one. I'm gently I'm going to pull that away so that I can look to see. This one is a little, let me see if I can move that. Okay, so there we go. So now we're going to flip this one over. And then we just made a 3 tab, so we are going to flip the 2 over. Okay. So line it up. I'm really more worried about this. So this is, you want to make sure that you're lined up on the bottom so that, okay, we just did 3. So now we're going to bring the 2 in again. So we're going to pull that one. We're going to pull that one. And we're done. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your last one. You're not going to put any tabs on it because these are your tabs. So you take your last one, you line it up just like we did. Make sure everything's, you know, good at the bottom. And then lay it down. Make sure it's all lined up. And then we're going to glue the last 3. And then you're just going to pull them over tight. Pull it over. They kind of slide a little bit, so you kind of want to make sure that they're straight. And then pull that one over. Ah! Get back over here, you little tab. Okay, so that's how you do it. It's not really difficult. It's just, you got to think about it. And believe me, when I first did this, I was like, what am I doing? And so there you go. And that's how it looks. Some are a little, off or whatever, but you get the gist of it. And you can pay special attention or more attention to it at home without being on camera and make them line up a little bit better. So that is how you do tab binding. You can do it with anything. You can do it with material. You can do it with ribbon. You can do it with all kinds of things. Your tabs can be whatever it is that you want it to be. And then when you open it, see how there's a little bit of room? I want that because, like I said, with mine that I just made, that I'm making, I already have a brad in here, and you're going to have papers, and you're going to have pockets and tags and goodies put on. So I mean, you want a little bit of room between each one. So that is how you make a tab bound folio. I hope that helps. I hope it helps the lady that was interested. And that's it. So I just wanted to quickly come on and do one specific to this so you could see the whole process. So you have a fabulous day. Thanks for watching. And if you like my videos, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up hit and a comment. I love all your comments. So and I just appreciate each and every one of you. But you have a fabulous day, and remember, you only know what you know until you know something different. Bye-bye.